Hello everyone! Welcome to the European Integration course. Today we will continue with Chapter 5, Foreign, Security and Defense Dimension of European Integration. In this chapter, we will first talk about potential strengths and weaknesses of the common foreign and security policy, and then the history of the common foreign and security policy, aims and instruments, and lastly, institutional structure and decision-making process. Let's start with potential strengths and weaknesses of the common foreign and security policy. There is a strong link between what happens outside of the EU's borders and the security within Europe. In a rapidly changing world, security challenges have become more complex, multidimensional, and fluid. No EU member state can face these threats alone. When it comes to security, the interests of all member states are inseparably linked. The EU made security a priority in its global strategy and has been working over the past years to create the conditions for member states to collaborate more closely with each other on defense. Given its size and resources, the EU is an important actor in international relations. In this respect, it has the necessary resources to adopt efficient and effective policies within the framework of the common foreign and security policy. Thanks to its huge economic capacity, the EU has become the world's largest trading power. Within the framework of the principles and aims of its external action, the EU conducts, defines, and implements a common foreign and security policy based on the development of mutual political solidarity among member states, the identification of issues of general interest, and the achievement of progressive convergence of the actions of member states. Now let's look into the history of the common foreign and security policy. In the European Union, where cooperation in the area of foreign policy is not regulated by the Union treaties, the origins of the CFSP lay in the European political cooperation. This was initiated by a Luxembourg report published in 1970. Therefore, the member states' increasing cooperation on foreign policy matters since 1970 was realized in a temporary manner and outside of the Union framework. By 1990, the status of the EC in foreign relations rendered foreign policy issues more important. In 2016, the High Representative launched a global strategy for the EU's foreign and security policy to enhance stability in the European neighborhood and beyond, boost security and defense, and deal with challenges such as energy security, irregular migration, climate change, and terrorism. The global strategy set the following 5 priorities for EU action: the security of the EU, state and societal resilience, an integrated approach to conflicts and crises, cooperative regional orders, and global governance for the 21st century. Thanks to these developments, the CFSP in political and organizational terms made a significant progress from the 1970s onwards. The EU currently conducts 6 military missions and operations on land and sea to assist in creating a safe and secure environment, fighting pirates or disrupting networks of traffickers. 3 of them are military training missions who provide advice and training to local security forces in Mali, Somalia, and Central African Republic. To strengthen coordination and cooperation on the ground, a single command center for these military training missions, the Military Planning and Conduct Capability, or MPCC, was established in 2017. Now let's move on to the aims and instruments. The EU member states will not be able to become an assertive actor in the area of security and defense policy as long as they do not increase their defense expenditure. They will continue to remain dependent on the US and NATO assets in terms of military capabilities, such as heavy airlift, logistical support, and advanced weapons. Common security and defense policy is an integral operational part of the CFSP. The external actions of the EU are founded on the following principles, which it aims to implement across the world and which have inspired its establishment and enlargement. democracy, the rule of law, the universality and indivisibility of human rights and fundamental freedoms, respect for human dignity, the principles of equality and solidarity, respect for the principles of the UN Treaty and the principles of international law. The EU aspires to develop relations and establish partnerships with third countries which share these principles. It supports multilateral solutions to common problems, in particular within the framework of the United Nations. Aside from defined policy instruments, a number of non-official or unrecorded activities are also conducted in the CFSP area. The CFSP actions are carried out in various manners in a broad scope. The major policy instruments of the CFSP are common strategies and joint positions. According to the Article 25 of the Treaty on European Union, the Union conducts the common foreign and security policy by defining the general guidelines, adopting decisions defining which are actions to be undertaken by the Union, positions to be taken by the Union, arrangements for the implementation of the decisions referred to in clauses 1 and 2. And finally, strengthening systematic cooperation between member states in the conduct of policy. And now we can talk about institutional structure and decision-making process. The CFSP is not among the effective EU policies. This is largely due to the politically sensitive nature of the CFSP. The European Council identifies the Union's strategic interests, sets the aims of and defines the general guidelines for the common foreign and security policy, including for defense-related matters. The European Council is responsible for the overall management of the CFSP. The European Council works together with and through the High Representative. The European Council, in addition to defining the guiding principles, issues statements or declarations on foreign policy matters when necessitated by international developments. The Council of Ministers takes center stage in the CFSP processes. Much of the Council of the Ministers' work is administered through a layered structure of meetings attended by the representatives of member states. The High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy regularly consults the European Parliament on the main aspects and the basic choices of the common foreign and security policy and informs the Parliament of the progress made in those policies. The European Parliament's roles in the foreign policy area are restricted to counseling, monitoring, and evaluating. So, this is the end of our program for Chapter 5 of the European Integration course. Goodbye and see you in our next program, Chapter 6.